All
That's my
right.
legal name.
Miss Haley Estelle, one of my dear friends, a client, someone I absolutely adore. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Uh, I'm so excited to talk to you. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about our relationship and what we've been working on, what we've been working on together. And you just recently achieved something huge, which I can't wait to tell people about. But we're going to save that for the end. Okay, we're going to just
Okay.
leave that little hook. So take me back to when we started working together. From the outside, like what did your life look like? What was actually going on underneath the hood that nobody was knowing or asking about?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think when I found you, however many years ago that was, it took me a little while to approach you to actually ask you for help. I knew what you did after first meeting you, and then had gone through some experiences in life where I was recognizing, like, I'd done a lot of therapy, traditional therapy. And there were still some disconnects in mind and body related to specifically complex PTSD. And I sort of had this aha moment. And I was reacting to situations in my physical body that weren't actually a threat based on kind of my mind trying to protect me, my body trying to protect me, but nobody really communicating very well. And that's what initiated my first conversation with you around working with you, and the work that you do. And it was kind of to establish a more stable foundation for the mind body connection. And I had built a foundation of kind of understanding the why and working through things in therapy, but then doing the actual work with you and getting the two to operate in tandem was huge and life changing. I think I probably present as what people have said, a swan in a pond, kicking and kicking underneath the surface, but presenting as this very put together, beautiful human being, which I can accept and love that part of me.
Mm-hmm.
But underneath the surface, it was just constantly paddling and trying to keep my head above surface. And then we started working together, and that had profound changes on the way that I approach life and interact with life.
Yeah, beautifully put. I love the swan analogy, and so many people can relate to that. Right? It's a mask. We're trying to show our best foot forward, especially on social medias and the way we show up with our friends and people. So thank you for the vulnerability on that. And so you're someone who is already doing the work, and a lot of people do talk therapy, and that's wonderful. That could be a great tool. And so what made it? After you've done the work yourself and kind of identified some of the challenges and the problems and the issues, what made this different than anything else you had done before? What was it that brought this world together for you?
Oh gosh, that's such a good question, and causes kind of a lot of reflection. It, I don't. The foundation was great from an intellectual perspective to have that understanding. Working with you sort of took that and just it was a rocket ship in repair. I understood a lot of the work that we were doing, the parts work piece of that. Having that kind of baseline understanding helped me get to the place where we needed to go to reparent and recapitulate and get all of those pieces back together on the same page and get rid of shit that wasn't working for me, and do so in a way where it doesn't linger. And it, I mean, I tell people this all the time. When I met you, I had been in therapy for probably 8 years and I'd done it all: talk therapy, ketamine therapy. I'd journeyed before, I'd done all of these things. And working with you in those sessions, that initial set of sessions, it was like it brought everything together in a matter of 5 sessions. And people outside of me in my circle could see the change in the way that I approached life. And inside, things were less chaotic and everything was sort of starting to move down this path of unification and understanding and loving myself and loving the world around me way more than I had been able to. Kind of behind the veil of trauma and complex PTSD and hypervigilance and all of that, it sort of fell by the wayside, and life became immensely easier.
That's what we want, right? That's what we
Yeah.
want. So
Yeah.
what was the primary emotion before you started? What was the biggest pain point?
Oh, the biggest pain point was hypervigilance, and anxiety around people and places. It was keeping me from being comfortable in the spaces that I occupy. I'd show up to a space and be so preoccupied kind of navigating the next threat that I couldn't enjoy the present moment. It was so planning for the next thing that was going to go wrong or the potential next thing that was going to go wrong. And it was like consuming my life and all of these incredible experiences I was set up for. I mean, I couldn't go to raves. As you know, my husband is kind of a raver, and I've been trying to fit that mold for a
No,
long
he's not
time.
kind of. He is. He is a raver.
He is.
He's a full on.
He
He's
is.
one of my favorite people to see at a music
Oh, he
festival.
cracks me up. And And that was really a crowning moment. I had gone to the DOS Energy Festival after our sessions together, and I went by myself. And
That's right.
yeah, and I navigated the space with grace, and I actually had an incredible time. And I credit your work and the work that we did together for making it possible for me to kind of be aware of my surroundings, but not let it overtake that entire experience.
And to feel
But
safe, right? That was
yeah,
the
I
big
felt
thing, is
safe.
to be safe.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was kind of the key factor was I didn't
Sweet.
feel safe in any place that I went. And then we came together and I started going, "Oh, life is not as scary as my brain has made it out to be, and we're actually okay."
Right. I remember you telling me beforehand, you were like, almost like, what's his name? Like a spy, like looking at where are the exits, where do I need to go if something, right? Like that
Yes.
hypervigilance of
Yeah,
like, oh, if shit goes down, you're like military.
that's where I
I know
go.
where to go. I mean, you're married to a military guy, but at the same time, it's like, hang on. When
Yeah,
you go to a festival, those are good things to know, but not from that fear place, right?
right.
And so
Right.
that shift is huge. And that is the beauty of this work, is when we get to the root cause and we get underneath that, do the parts work, do the regression, we're then able to actually create lasting change. That's
Yeah.
real, as opposed to just talking about it. So thank you for that. That's amazing. I thank you for reminding me about that.
Yeah.
So so next question is, so for someone who's never done, let's say, somatic breath work like what I do, mixed with subconscious recoding, hypnosis, and thinks, it sounds a little out there, a little woo woo, a little weird.
It's a little woo woo. Yeah.
Yeah. What actually happens in a session? Like, how do you break this down so you can kind of talk about describe the science meets woo kind of bridge that we take?
I don't know that I can cover the science part, which is unusual for me because I love the science behind this stuff. And I'm getting more into that now. But oh, prepping for a session, first of all, you got to follow the instructions and not consume copious amounts of coffee because you're going to be anxious going in anyway. I mean, we've worked together for a long time now. I mean, in doing this work over a year with different targets, it seems like every time I'm always a little bit afraid going into it, even though I know exactly what to expect. Um, but I try to always take that few minutes beforehand to get centered and grounded. And then, of course, you and I center and ground together and open up the session in a very kind and gentle way. Um, oh, gosh. And the breath work. Wow. Yeah. The breath work is profound and it can feel awkward at first. Um, but it shifts. I don't know what it does scientifically. You're going to have to share that part of the story. I have no idea what happens in my brain, but it allows me to open up and to feel more fully. And it sort of is like coming out of the physical. Does that make sense?
No, totally. Yeah.
And
It's
observing from a different perspective.
Yeah, and it's what it's doing, because we're over oxygenating, but we're also like releasing CO2, which shows that it's when we're doing that kind of breath, the somatic belly chest breath, we're actually by 40% shutting down that prefrontal cortex, that monkey mind that's always going, that thinking tool. Everybody thinks that, I mean, the mind is very important. The brain is very important, but we overthink things way too much. So breathwork gets us down into our body, shuts off the monkey mind. I don't have to get too scientific, but that's what it's happening. About 40% reduction of that allows us to just be like, oh, there I am. Now I can release the stuff, and we're actually turning on our body to do the intelligence of which it's built for, which is shaking this stuff off and letting go. So
Yeah.
that
That's
was
why
that
it
was
feels
perfectly
like
said.
you're kind of coming outside of yourself in a certain way and observing and able to think of it in a more clear head than having all of the anxiety and all of the stories and all of the small self coming in and making things much bigger than they are. And it allows, yeah, a path toward working on stuff that I don't think I'd ever experienced in any of the other modalities that I've tried.
Yeah, it was wonderful seeing your clarity once the noise and the distortions was away. Then you got to see, oh, okay, because this is not about me. I'm not being a guru. I'm not telling you what to do. This is simply like opening up to your own ingenious, your own intuitiveness, which is so powerful. You've always been a powerful being since I've met you. Beautiful inside and out, and just seeing that come alive. And that's kind of getting us to my next kind of where you're going. So we went backwards. We dealt with trauma. We went into the past. We went and recoded things. We've done a lot of that work over the last year or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so 8 months of prep. You told me the day before that you'd been a wreck of nerves 8 weeks earlier. And you just recently did a bodybuilding competition. You look jacked.
did.
You look so beautiful. You look incredible. I was so proud to see your photos and images. On the video here, we'll put up some of your photos here to show all the medals. But what was different when you walked on that stage? And what did you walk away with after we did some of that work to get prepared for it?
We did some of that work. It's incredible I can't stop smiling thinking about it. Like, that's what you created in me, because we installed excitement and pride and confidence and gratitude and love. And I still feel that. We went to the future in that session, if you recall.
Yeah.
And I had been working on future self stuff based on a book recommended by one of my coaches. And so I was nervous in the weeks prior. I was so nervous to get on stage. The posing part of bodybuilding is something they kind of don't warn you about at the beginning. And my body had been protesting for weeks. And I'd been working really hard on mobility and all of that physical stuff. And so meeting with you was that last step. I met with you the day before my competition, 24 hours before I was getting on stage. And I'm getting goosebumps. It just reinstilled faith that I had this and I was creating a future that I wanted to be part of. And I had the ability to do that in the now. And so walking on stage with some of the tools that you gave me, this thing, yes.
The anchor. Yeah. You want to say how you use that and what that did?
Yeah. So the anchor, when we were in our session, you had me put my thumb and middle finger together as we installed some of those future aspirations, right? I want to get on stage and feel confident and feel like I belong and feel like I'm part of this community. And I am so grateful for the chance to get on stage. And I'm really, really proud of myself for the work that I did and grateful that I kept showing up. And so you're backstage forever. It feels like you're back there forever before they call your class up. And then all of a sudden it's go time. And first time on stage, I'd never done this before. So I'm like, what's happening? And I get behind the curtain and I'm about to walk on stage and I am holding this so tightly. And I close my eyes for just a second and I can feel it just wash over me. All of those future feelings that we kind of forecasted came flooding in. And I walked on stage and smiled and posed. My body participated. My brain was there with me. It wasn't perfect, and I didn't expect perfection, but what I expected was to walk on stage and have a presence that was noticeable, to be able to show the hard work that I put in over 8 months. In bodybuilding, you spend all of that time food prepping, eating, going to the gym, sleeping, and then when it's time to show up, you pose. Like, you don't show that you're preparing your overnight oats. Yeah, you do none of those things.
Yeah, you don't say, hey, look how good I cook. Look at my food. And there's none of that. They're like, we don't care about that.
Right. Watch me lift these dumbbells. None of that happens. You get on stage and do something that you hopefully have been practicing for the weeks prior. And thankfully I was. I had a great team behind me and you were part of that team. And so it was incredible. And I did 4 classes. So I did True Novice, Masters 40 Plus, in the Open. And every time I got behind that curtain, this anchor was right there with me until I took that first step on stage. And it was a repetition of those affirmations that we installed, and it was easy and it was quick. I didn't have to think about it. It wasn't like I was regenerating this thing. It was already there. And I was just embodied. Accessing it. And then by finals night, I got on, I did my final round, and and it flowed like I couldn't believe. When I saw the video come back, I was shocked because I thought I had just totally killed it. I didn't do very good and I crushed it. Like, I got on stage, the judges loved it. Everything that I had worked toward accomplishing happened. Like, getting on stage was the cherry on top of the person I become through bodybuilding and through my work with you. And so to see it all come together that way and be really proud and able to look at videos of myself, which was a huge part of why I did this, was to conquer that fear. Wow. Just wow. And I'm still using the anchor to this day. Like, when I want to remember that and I'm prepping for the next show in October, it's there. So
that is loaded. That is loaded with so many great emotions and such a great way to activate yourself for anything in your life. I am so proud of you. I am so honored to have been a part of your team to help you achieve this. You did this. The team around you just there to support. I was so happy to support. I've been telling everyone about you, about everyone about your success. I've been sharing your content, and I'm just really, really excited and thankful that you're sharing this and how we were able to create this success together, because we all rise together. That's what it's about.
So true.
So last question is like, so someone watching this right now, like who quietly knows deep down, they need something like this, but they haven't done anything about it, or maybe they've tried this or that. What do you want to say to them? What's your advice to them directly to that person?
My advice would be, if you found Aaron James, you trust the process and you trust yourself. I mean, that surrender over, and the truth is going to come out and you can trust it. And it's absolutely worth the pre-session anxiety for what comes afterward. I mean, yeah, I would do it 100 times over. And I suggest and recommend you to everybody who asks. It's a little weird. It's a little woo-woo. It's a little out there. Yeah, sure is. But it's also profound. It is a profound practice, and it has completely changed who I am.
I received that. Thank you so much.
Of course.
And to summarize, it's like from hypervigilant fear, not wanting to be seen, to on stage being seen on purpose, probably paying money to be seen.
So much money.
So much money. And then winning, having medals around your chest, having built the body that you, I mean, just, and 4 different classes for your first time. That's what's possible, people. So my love, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I'm going to give you a huge hug next time I see you. Thank you for your time with me, and enjoy the rest of your time where you are on the East Coast.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Aaron James.
Thanks.